Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam!
The sound of a random Sacramento Kings fan chanting "Light the beam" means we are back. It's still a very unstable bit, but I like it, so we're sticking with it. We are back here in the Sports Cave with Biggest Puma. I am your host, Sam Freas, where we're about to need a new countdown, boys. We are 2 days away from the NBA draft.
I so thought it was today. I was sitting there looking through my the guide to record it, and I'm just like, where the F is this, man? I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't tell me they put it on Prime or something like that.
It would be appropriate that they start putting it on Peacock or something. No, you're not wrong. It's the shortest distance ever, or the shortest time between the finals ending and the draft starting.
Yeah.
But if they had done it tonight, that wouldn't have even given the hillbillies in Oklahoma time to have a parade. I think they're doing that tomorrow. So, of course, sitting here Monday night, we will be talking about the Game 7 of the NBA Finals in the main segment, as well as I was a little late on the timeline, but we finally got a KD trade, which I think we definitely need to talk about, because that that was a bullet dodged when you look at everything Houston gave up for it. But that voice you hear already, of course you know by now, is the Cap joining me in the room. In the other room, the always hesitation.
The secret dungeon.
Do we have a solid connection?
Put away the sex swing.
The producer extraordinaire and noted sex swing owner, LG.
Where did that come from?
There he is. I don't know. It's
I seen it.
Ain't got no sex swing.
I'd like to see, you and I mean, as big as we are. I don't think I have a.
Would our feet touch the ground?
Well, I don't think I have
elevated.
a structurally strong ceiling to hold it.
You definitely need to make sure you tie into some studs or something there.
I'm gonna need 2 studs and help getting into it.
So to speak. Yeah, your sex swing and 2
pause.
studs. You heard it
No
first.
Diddy.
That's all the captain needs.
The Punisher's coming.
Yeah, I don't think I would. The Diddy Punisher. He might have been the best witness we've had in the case so far.
It was like, sir, can you tell us your name that you went by? Yes, it was the Punisher.
Hold up.
The mask he wore, the black leather mask, just all of it. It's one of those deals where, I have no familiarity with the lifestyle of the Punisher, but you always see it in in a Eyes Wide Shut or you see it in movies and you're like, oh, okay, that's what the rich do. Sure.
Someone
really is what the rich do.
It's because he flew him out first class. He got the royal treatment. Somewhere there is a rich person that was like, I sat next to the Punisher. And they didn't realize it
without
until now.
And now they're
like that towaway that towaway bag he had up there, nothing but whips and straps and 9 tails and all sorts of baby oil and little bottles.
Yeah, I was about to say definitely baby oil. We're already 4 minutes in and the run sheet is shut.
Oh,
but shout out to the Punisher. LG, tell the good people how they can help support the show here.
You can help support the show by leaving a tip at buymeacoffee.com/sportscavelive, or you can also help us out by hitting that subscribe or like button. Or do both. That's even better.
Yes.
Yeah, when in doubt, do both. That's always that's Cap's motto, as we just heard with the Punisher. Now, again,
you live one life, sir.
The subscriptions are absolutely free. So if you have a YouTube account, please go to @SportsCave Live. Give us a follow. Give us a subscription there.
Yeah, we're creeping on 375. We're creeping on 400. I think maybe Captain should shave his beard when we hit 400, maybe, or something.
Oh, man, you
maybe
want to see this baby face?
500.
Y'all want to see this baby face?
When's the last time?
Oh, man.
When's the last time you were clean face?
COVID. And my wife gave me the longest stare And I was like, yep, never again.
You know, that's funny. It's funny because I feel like most people during COVID did the opposite of that.
Exactly, I did.
Well, no, because
for sure.
I think that's where my mustache only look started was COVID.
Well,
where it
they
was just
said
like, I
the
don't care.
COVID was sticking to the beard.
Oh
And,
God!
Yeah, one of the many
God.
COVID stories.
You were watching Fauci press conferences every day.
I didn't want that. I didn't want that shit.
Said it sticks on your beard, and you ran to the bathroom like a proper
was like,
liberal
maybe
and
I
just
should
started
shave it.
shaving everything. No, it's spectacular. Yeah, we do need to.
We need some incentives.
We need some incentives, especially
Yes.
400 is good, but I hear 500 is 100 times better than
Yeah,
that.
500's a better number to celebrate. That's for sure.
You might get the beard shave. You might get the Brazilian wax. We don't know yet.
I could go. I could just go Michael Jordan mustache.
You Hitler loving
Hanes
son.
commercial.
Oh,
Hitler, where's Hitler come into play here? What are you talking about?
That was the Jordan.
Jesus Christ.
Speaking of Hitler facts, did you know he copied?
Okay, new segment.
He copied the mustache because he was a huge fan of
Charlie Chaplin. Yeah. Who also, I believe at one point wasn't he tried for being a socialist in America?
Oh yeah,
Like most actors were at one point or another.
Socialist, communist.
Man, isn't American history so fun? Especially, it was a hell of a weekend for American
Wait a
history.
minute, that got DEI. That's out. That's doged.
Yeah, we can cut that. Now, if you don't have a YouTube account, it's again absolutely free, and it really would go a long way to helping us out here as we get to 500. We'll work on maybe no baby face cap or
No one wants to see that.
no
man.
MJ mustaches for me, but we'll come up with something good as we get closer to 500. I mentioned, of course, main segment tonight. We got to talk the end of the NBA season, the Game 7 that 7 minutes were amazing, and then the
Amazing.
rest of it.
Could have been great.
The
Could have been a
ultimate
great one.
ultimate deflating way to end a season. We got NBA to talk about. We got just a weekend sports recap to talk about because, believe it or not, it was a good sports weekend.
Dan, you had like 8 different things going on.
Yeah, it feels like if the NBA wasn't your thing, and obviously not football because out of season, but I don't know, are they still
sports isn't your thing?
Are they still doing that spring football league? Is it still in season?
Oh yeah, the San Antonio Brahmas.
Yeah, I think they've already had their like eight
Doesn't
game
everybody go to the playoffs?
championship. Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
goes to the playoffs. So
I think that's already over too. But besides that, we had a lot of baseball, a lot of soccer, a lot of golf. So we'll get into all of that throughout the program. But as we have become accustomed to doing here on Monday nights, we got to start with a little weekend recap where ended up having a pretty full weekend. It's one of those where I didn't necessarily expect to be busy, but every day ended up having something going on. Half of the things I forgot about, that then it was the roommate telling me at midnight 30 on Saturday, like, hey, remember, we got to be somewhere Sunday at 10 a.m. I'm like, whoa. Like we had all day to remind me.
On the holy day.
Yeah, on the Sabbath.
Hey, that's a day of rest right there, sir.
Yeah.
I don't wake up until 12.
Well, to be completely honest, as we know, that's pretty much every day for me. I'm a 4 a.m. I get my 8 hours of sleep from 4 a.m. till about noon. But no, last Thursday, we talked about it a little bit on Wednesday's episode. My buddy Kibler, his band out of Austin, Southbound Echoes, who I'm rocking a very, very comfortable band tee.
That looks like a 50-50 blend there,
that's
sir.
not bad. No, it's quite comfortable. It's not heavy. It's not even though it's black.
Light. It's like it's broken in already.
Yeah, Kibler, you can send us the bill for your merch plug here. No, ended up buying
and a
this
4XL LT there,
at
sir.
the show. So it's funny you say that. This is an XL, and the roommate was trying to find a 2 or 3XL because she's been working out in like big band shirts. It's her new, new kick.
It's the baggy.
It's perfect, and it's even better since we're right by the Alamo Dome. We just end up when the bootleg T-shirt guys are walking back into the neighborhood. We catch them on the way back. Dude, we got a Jelly Roll and Post Malone shirt for like $10. Actually, we got 2 of them for $10 because I told him, I was like, dude, what are you going to do with them? You're just throwing them away.
You know, I dabbled in a little merch.
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
It was during the whole Lakers and Spurs and the Lakers sucks with the Spurs logo thing.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, man, I bought 500 of them things, and and I went to every bar, was selling them. It was a lot of work.
It's a lot of hustling.
A lot of work. And by the way, you cannot wear a Lakers suck T-shirt in Fiesta, Texas.
Oh, because that's
because it has the word
it's bad
suck
language.
In it. Yeah. I literally got rolled up. This is back when I was a young pup, and 2 of my friends and I go through, and we're just little hooligans at that time. I think I was 20 years old, and about 15 security guards, like it was like a Delta team.
Oh, just swatting you.
I saw them on both sides, and I'm like, what is about to go down? And I'm like, I feel like they're coming around me, and they stopped me, and there's like 8 of them just circled me and said, "Sir, you cannot wear that shirt." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll just turn it inside out." "No, sir. We can still
but it's spelled backwards now.
Yeah, and I was like, well, someone's really going to have to look at it. And I don't think a kid's really going to look at this. And it was a whole debate. And they're like, there's shops all over the place. You can buy a shirt in there. And I'm like,
no discount.
And I was poor at the time.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no discount.
I was like, there's no way I'm buying a 2030. Well, you can buy, this story gets, I'm sorry for the long story in the beginning, y'all, but it gets pretty good. Oh, well, you can buy a white T-shirt for $5 up at the front. All right, you 2 wait here. We're by the German, turkey leg place. I was like, I'll be right back. I'm going to buy a $5 white shirt. Get up there. The only size they had was medium.
Medium.
The only size they had was medium. I was like, oh, hell no. So I was like, we didn't have cell phones. I was like, let me go get my friends. I'm out of here. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm over this.
Sir, you cannot enter there wearing that shirt at any time. So I had to put on the medium shirt. I'm Winnie the Pooh in it, dude. Sure. Just like belly button out.
Well, time out. You know those security guards are enjoying the hell out of this, too.
I was fuming.
As you're Winnie the Poohing with your belly hanging out, you know they're just laughing at each other. You're laughing with each other.
Little effers, man. Like, and then I go get my friends, and they look at me and like, what is going on here? And I'm like, what's going on is we're leaving. We're out of here. So, yeah, I had to do a walk of shame with my belly out.
Well,
in
unfortunately.
There went my merch career. That was about it.
Do you think you even turned a profit on the $500 original investment? Okay. So it worked out.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Outside
of the public shaming of wearing a medium.
It was like a scarlet letter.
Yeah, it's exactly. Well, and you know, every single person that walked by you just thought that was what you chose to wear. So then they're thinking like, who the hell is this guy?
Everybody looked. I heard it all, man.
Of course.
I'm just like, they're like, the dad's turning, kids turning. I'm just shaking my head. And I'm just like, I'm red-faced, just stomping through the thing. I'm like,
equally angry and embarrassed.
Yeah.
No, luckily my buddy, Kibler's band, they didn't have any double or triple XL, but they did have a single XL. And it turns out it fits me better than the roommate anyway. So I think this is my shirt now.
This is your shirt now.
Yeah, she has one, I think, on backlog, set to be delivered in the future.
Yeah.
But no, we went Thursday night. They were playing at the Starlighter, which this is one of those moments where, the roommate and I moved here in February of 2011. And for us, that's 14, almost, going on 15 years in the same city, a city that neither one of us grew up in, and didn't have any connections to until we, graduated college and moved here. So we're starting to get to that tipping point that I've talked about, where this San Antonio is the city I've lived in more than any city my whole life, including my childhood hometown, so 18 years.
Is home.
Right. So it's already home, but we're closing in on that where it's actually by the numbers.
You're carving your niche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those weird, we've done so many things in this city. The very first thing when we moved here originally, we wanted, both of us loved live music. And, she grew up in a Lubbock music scene that was very, old school, house shows, dive bar, open mic, a very humble music scene.
Like cover bands mostly.
Okay, so the cool thing about Lubbock, not as much cover bands. The people that were doing covers were doing like country music. But her, scene, her clique was all like like hardcore bands, like Every Time I Die, At the Drive-In kind of sounding bands, like very, country punk, basically, rural punk.
Wow.
And so we, wanted to try to find that here in San Antonio as soon as we moved here, because we thought, what's going to be the best way to make friends? Well, find out where the music scene is. And so the first month we moved here, we started working for this blog called SATX Music. And ever since then, like we met these people, the great Libby and Kim, who were running it. And I mean, they're our longest friends we've had in San Antonio now. And it introduced us to so many different people that were all around our same age, who now also, a lot of them have stayed here for a decade and a half.
And so they've scattered out
exactly.
to different areas.
They bought properties. They went from booking bars to now buying bars and booking shows.
Networking,
and stuff.
baby.
Very much so.
Networking.
So all of that to say, the guy that owns the Starlighter over there off of Fred Road in the Deco District is a guy that I've known for years. Like I've known him for the last half decade now. Had no idea that he owned a couple of bars and the Starlighter, the music venue. Just had always known him as just the friend that we would run into or that we would see at the bar or we would see at shows and stuff like that. So it turns out Starlighter is his bar.
Oh, man.
So immediately...
You got the in already, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I shouldn't say bar. It's just music venue, and he owns the bar that's right next to it there in the Strip. So...
Is that where your friend's band played?
It's exactly where he played. Right.
Wow.
And so we walk in, and I'm just like, Jason? Like, what are you doing? Like, you came for the show?
You came for the show?
It's like, no, this is my place. I was like, oh, okay. So just small town shit like that to begin with. And the show was great. They had a 4-band bill, a lot of good music. My buddy's band, basically, the best way I could describe it is it sounds like early Stone Temple Pilots. Like it's that very 90s alt,
grunge.
Not a little kind of grungy, but still more like LA rock.
Yeah.
Less of the Seattle sound. So this show was great.
Still followed the same formula.
Yeah,
as
very
like
much
a rock
so.
band.
Very much so. Of just straightforward rock and roll, which is something I drastically miss in the current music landscape. I mean, it's still there. Like you find it. You just have to dig for it.
Yeah,
because most of the rock music that's getting played is either boomer rock or Gen X rock. There's not like our generation is the first generation that doesn't have a classic rock station. Think about that.
They
just had the massive Warped Tour.
Well, can you consider Kiss classic rock?
Well, it's not. No, because they're still playing stuff that should be on an oldie station. Like, so when I was 10 years old in the mid '90s, the classic rock station was 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So it's a 20-year gap. So now, as we're sitting here in 2025, classic rock should be like late '90s, early 2000s. It should be the Warped Tour lineups from our childhood.
Stuff?
That's oldies now. That's like
oldies is the 50s, man. I think you still got to like
that's
that is
golden oldies.
As classic rock. You got the 80s, then you got the 90s grunge alternative area.
Why do they just get to label their stuff exclusively as classic rock?
Because there was a lot of classics.
No, it's because they run the radio stations and they control the genres and the airplay, and they don't necessarily want to take a risk on music that they're not comfortable with because they didn't grow up listening to our stuff. Anyway, so my buddy plays Thursday, and they're all massive, like most Texas, country boys, Texas musicians, massive Ray Wiley Hubbard fans. To the point that you don't know Snake Farm? No, I mean the first one. No. Here's the 400 subscribers. We make Cap listen to Ray Wiley Hubbard's entire discography.
So take a test on it.
He's a Texas country legend.
Texas country legend.
And out of this area, still lives around.
I probably like his music. I like the old
It's blues, Texas rock. I mean, it's good stuff. They all love him so much so that the guitarist in the band has on his amp, on his speaker, it says, play more Ray Wiley Hubbard or listen to more Ray Wiley Hubbard or like something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I thought, I love Ray Wiley. I took a picture, posted the picture from the show, like, oh, yeah, listen to more Ray Wiley, tagged Ray Wiley, just to think, okay, maybe he'll see it, maybe he won't, whatever.
Oh, no.
And then we, left after the show. I told my buddy bye, hung out with him a little bit before we headed back to the house. And I didn't think anything else about it. I went to sleep. This is where a bit of a Larry David moment arrives.
One of my favorites.
It's you could either call it a Larry David moment, or you could reference one of the tales from the good book. I'm pretty sure it's New Testament. And, it's like, your rewards will not be here on earth. They will be in heaven. Just keep that phrase in mind. Okay?
So fortune cookie. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. So I woke up Friday morning. Every member of the band had texted me or tried to call me. My DMs are full from, people in the band or tangential people that are tangentially connected to them that I know. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on, right? So I call my buddy Kibler, and the first thing he says is, I just talked to Ray Wiley Hubbard.
Get out of here.
Swear to God.
You just networked them together. You connecting it. You the connection.
But here's the Larry David moment.
You are now the connect.
Here's the Larry David moment. So I got caught up on everything. He follows, he quote tweeted me and then reached out to them and is following them on all socials. I was talking to him about, trying to get him to come out to see a show next time. Because he plays in Austin area all the time.
I bet.
And, the guitarist from the band, like Ray Wiley is his number one musical hero. Yeah. And so he's losing his mind that he just talked to his, number one guy. And so then I think to look, I'm like, oh, well, I see Ray Wiley followed my buddy Kibler, who's the drummer. He followed the guitarist who had on his amp, listen to more Ray Wiley. He followed the band's account.
Oh.
Surely he followed the guy that connected him with all of those people.
You got left out. You better learn to play guitar, sir.
My rewards will be in heaven, as I was taught as a child, because I did not get a reward on this earth for all of that networking.
This is a guerrilla marketing tactic right now. Just be like, I will not take it as a personal slight, Mr. Riley, but just give us a shout out at Sports Cave Live and tell them to subscribe and listen to us.
So I think
we might get to 500 right there, boy.
Here's the only thing I can chalk it up to.
I would use that.
Besides,
just guilt trip this.
So I ran into him one time here at what will remain an unnamed coffee shop. Yeah. He has some office space that turns out is right next to a coffee shop that I go to all the time. And one day, this was like 2 years ago. It was on my birthday 2 years ago, as still was trying to figure out what, had just left iHeart the first time, was trying to figure out what the Sports Cave was going to be, was just drowning in pressure and anxiety to try to figure it out.
The what ifs.
Oh yeah, and the trying to find any consistency with this program. And on my birthday 2 years ago, I ran into him in the parking lot. And I might have overshared a little some of that in my interaction with him. So
he's all trying to leave, and you're like, "Hold on, give me another minute, man. I'm breaking down here. I'm losing my mind."
That's very possibly he might remember that, and that might be a slight reason why I still don't have a follow.
Mr. Riley, give him another chance. Give him another chance.
Yeah, you need stuff to listen to while you're out on tour.
Do it for the cap.
You need,
just give him one more chance.
You need some entertainment while you're out there on the open road. So yeah, it was a very the roommate had to put up with me all weekend being like, oh nope, still no follow from still no follow from Ray.
So bitter.
I was so dude. Bitter. I wish I actually wasn't as bitter as I was.
Because you think your ego is you're like, I don't have an ego. And then you're just like,
dude, everyone in the band, so I'm like, dude, you're an effing legend. This is awesome. I can't believe it. I'm like, awesome, man. You all deserve it. That's great. But where is my reward?
Your reward is guilt tripping them to shout us out on this Twitter.
Yeah.
You get nothing.
At the minimum, I would take that. I guess he did repost what I put out. So we got some level of exposure, but it could have been more.
I might have to go deep dive and be like, this is the captain, Puma's co-host. He's really sad.
Yeah, you gotta start.
He's bitter.
You can
he's not
jumping
bitter,
into,
but he's just more sad than anything.
Well, jump into Ray Wiley's DMs and then Evan Felker's, and just work your way down the line of my musical heroes until we get a response. I'll take any of them.
Any of them.
Yeah. So that was my Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday. When's the last time y'all were invited to a party by someone you only kind of knew?
Man, all the time. Dude.
And you go?
No.
Okay. Well, I made the mistake of going to one.
That's why you don't go.
Yeah.
You say, "Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'll try to make it."
No. Well,
I'm at home watching sports.
Saturday, we had one of the newer friends, because that's the other thing. At the age that we're at, I've pretty much hit my friend capacity outside of people that want to keep listening and coming up to us in public. Please keep that up.
Please. No, man. Friends. We love y'all.
No. But I
did have someone come up to me and says, I love the podcast.
Love it.
He's like, right when I go to bed, I kick it up on my kickstand and I watch y'all. He's like, y'all do a great job.
Kickstand? Was he serving 6 to 8?
The little kickstand on your phone.
Okay.
It's a little, yeah. But he's actually a head manager at a fine steakhouse that we can go get hooked up at.
Well, yes. We should pay full price when we go there. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah. But we should definitely go there soon, yeah.
Absolutely.
No, this is... I've ran into this guy multiple times in the neighborhood, and he goes to places that I frequent. He goes to the same coffee shop, goes to the same bar, goes to the same record store, that kind of deal. So and
you always get that eye contact
yeah.
where you're just get the head nod, but then you're like, don't come over here. Don't come over here. Don't do it.
But he's social.
Yeah.
And he comes over every time. And he's also, he's not a born and raised San Antonian. So he's, looking for... new, kind of like we were 15 years ago when we first moved here. So, and he's from Maine, which...
Oh, man. I bet he's just
dude...
People.
No, he's...
People.
Out of anyone north of the Mason-Dixon, Maine is kind of the state that I kind of...
You want to go?
With the most. Yeah, those people, they just don't care about anything.
Because they're trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
They're fishing. They're fishing people.
They're actually true libertarians. It's not just, it's...
It's not the only independent, governor or something like that.
I think Vermont has a real libertarian bent too. Maine has a bunch, they have ranked choice voting.
Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah, which I am a big proponent of, despite some of its issues.
Just like the rest of the world.
Yeah, like most other places that have more than 2 political parties to fight over. But no, so he invited us to a solstice party Saturday. Saturday was the longest day of the year. It was the summer solstice.
A themed party.
And this guy is a contractor. You know, he builds houses. He's a hardworking blue-collar guy. So in my head, I'm thinking...
He's networking. He's
This
going
is
to give you spiels.
This is like, no. I'm thinking this is going to be like a barbecue backyard hangout kind of party, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't get dressed up or anything. It's 100-degree Texas summer. And you told me it was outside. Like, I'm not wearing...
How many blue jeans and breathable back shirts did you see?
Can I interest you in pleated slacks and sports coat?
Oh,
Sport
hell
coats.
no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Sports coats in July or in June?
A lot of them were being carried but they showed up in them because that's the kind of crowd we were talking about. And as soon as the roommate and I walked in, it was like, oh shit. Like neither one of us were. Steph was dressed nice, but still like, you know, cool temperature or trying to stay cool.
I keep my record good and strong as the least dressed person at every event, weddings.
Well,
funerals,
we definitely were that. Even the guy
birthday parties.
There was a guy
bar
wearing
mitzvahs.
blue jean shorts, but nice, like tailored blue jean shorts,
Some jorts.
with a golf, a polo golf tee.
Oh, yeah.
And he was giving me shit for how I was dressed because I kind of knew it was kind of the same way. Like
Yeah.
I kind of know him a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he was giving us hell. And so, long story short, we didn't make it long, but and I find the guy who's hosting the party. Again, everyone else is dressed up. His partner, she's dressed incredibly nice.
Yeah.
He's dressed like he just came from the job site.
Oh, yeah.
He has no care whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so like that at least made me feel pseudo better. But yeah, it was more like a company party than
it was like a
anything else.
company
It was
event.
Yeah, but I got free tequila.
Yeah, you got to ask these questions, man. But like, it can hit you one or either way. Like, people either avoid you like the plague because you look like a scrub, and they're like, "Who's this bum who just walked in? He's not one of us." Or you attract them like moths to a light, and they want to talk to you, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" Blah blah blah, and you got to sit there and chat with every single one of them. And I'm just like, I get it. I came in a wife beater and pajama pants. Sorry. Hope your union goes better at the wedding.
Yeah. I hope you can recover from seeing someone that looks like this.
I went to a wedding in a velour P. Miller jumpsuit.
Oh,
silver,
good God!
With a wife beater. God. It was glorious, man. It was the reception, and I was like, "There's a keg there," and it was one during my teenage days where it's like, "Where's the keg? Where's the keg?"
Oh, we're floating that thing. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm not dressed for a wedding reception. They're like, come on, man. Just go like that. You're good. You're good. Oh, man. Everybody in that. It was a Mexican wedding, too. They all just turned around and looked at me just in utter disgust.
Yeah, there was no way you were going to be able to hide at that function.
I just stood by the keg.
Yeah, that was what we did. We just hung out by the tequila and talked to. But that's the problem. As we stood there, everyone that came up for a drink kind of gave it like this look, the inquisitive kind of half eye open.
You just got to be like, I know.
There was a lot of. I can't tell you how many times I just shook a random guy. I was like, "Hey, man, good to see you again," and then just walked away. And that guy's gonna be so confused the rest of the night.
The drunker you get, the more confident you get. Like, hey, buddy, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Always good to see you.
How's that golf game going, brother?
Oh man, birdied the back nine, didn't you? Oh man,
it looked like a bunch of dudes that were happy that Tommy Fleetwood choked away the Travelers Championship. Ooh, it was a bunch of Keegan Bradley looking dudes.
I got some stories. I got some info on that one.
Yeah, we'll do weekend sports here before we get into the main segment.
I got a quick one over this weekend. I took a buddy of mine. He turned 50. He's a young 50 for a white man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Us whites, we age.
We don't look. Yeah,
we age. You know what I'm saying? We don't age.
I don't want to know what I look like in 11 years.
White people. Very rarely do we age. Counteractively like some people, Asians.
I was about to say, do you have any specifics?
Asians. Well, so he turned 50, and he's such an introvert, and he's such a good guy, man. Just the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And I was like, you're turning 50. I was like, we're going to the strip club.
Oh, now we're talking.
We're going to the strip club.
So you drove him out of the San Antonio area so you could go to an actual proper strip club, right?
No. We went inside. We went right to 410. Right to 410 to old P. Tizzles.
Oh, okay, PTs.
Yeah, perfect 10 now. They had to change it for a liquor license way back in the day.
Oh, okay. That must have been after they were busted not wearing their pasties by the undercover cops that had the best job in the world. Sorry, honey, I'm working undercover tonight at the strip club.
We're just looking for pasties. And this guy, man, like, I'm sitting there putting money in his hand and being like, just go to the stage and just throw it at him. Throw it at him.
Have he ever?
Or I was like, stand at the stage with it and be like, and just hold it and let them do the work.
Yeah, just see what happens.
They know they can. I was like, they can read you a mile away. Strippers are some of the most, they're
intuitive.
What was it? They're visual body readers.
Oh, it's the Mac from It's Always Sunny. Their ocular pat downs.
The ocular pat, so they know. And I'm like, trust me, they're gonna know that you're introvert. They're gonna know somebody brought you here. Because, I go in there like I own the place.
Well, naturally.
Until I get kicked out again. And then
and then they say, come back tomorrow.
They're like, you're lucky you're back.
Come back next week.
But he just would not do it. But, I was, trying to get him a lappy. But, just to, put the cherry on top. And I'm like, we could go. Because I was like, we had a 30-minute. Because his friend was all like, boo. I don't want to go to the strip club. And I'm like, well, it ain't really about you there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you turning 50?
Yeah, and I didn't really invite you either, and I'm paying for him. And, he just wouldn't do it. But the one girl, he sat there and gathered up all his angst and stuff, was a stripper sitting at the bar talking with her boyfriend. And I'm one girl, that's the one you go after? I was like,
This reminds me of when we went to the strip club for a buddy and a similar guy that did not want to be at the strip club whatsoever. I tried to teach him for the first 15 minutes, and then by the end of the night, I was talking Ron Paul politics with a random stripper at the bar because it's my buddy's getting married. I tried to get him dances, but he doesn't want to do any of it, so. Let's just talk some Ron Paul 2012.
Oh my God!
How many times do you think he had ever been to a strip club before?
Man, maybe one hand. Maybe.
Yeah.
He's not that type of guy.
Are strip clubs
he's super
dying?
Nice. No, hell no.
Well, compared to 20 years
ago, are drugs
ago.
still being sold?
Sure.
Then they never die.
Fair. But is it as when I turned 18, we found the first BYOB 18 and up.
Oh, paradise. That was me.
Well, up there.
I used to go roll after 2 o'clock by myself with all the sketchy people.
Dangerous.
With all the sketchy people. Yeah.
In your velour. And
oh, man. I was a little G at 18, man.
Yeah. No, I don't feel without having any anecdotal evidence, it just doesn't feel like the mid-20-something-year-old dude is flocking to the strip club like we were in the early 2000s.
I'm definitely one of the oldest people in there.
See? That's what I'm saying.
You got a couple of the old G's in there.
It's like baseball. It's the average age just keeps getting older and older.
You got the original gangsters. Then you got the new up-and-comers, they're coming in there trying to floss. And, they got the ones who sit there and try to girlfriend the strippers. And then you got the weird guys that will sit there with their basketball pants ready for lapping.
Yeah, that's unstable.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't even wear sweatpants. That's questionable enough.
You know.
We have a sweatpants exemption.
No,
apparently.
you gotta make it just look like.
All right, Plaxico. You gonna shoot yourself in the leg?
Hey, I don't carry that kind of a gun.
So to speak.
All right.
Was a
awkward
good time
pause.
had by all by the end of the night at least?
Yeah, he had a good time, but like no lappy. He literally went up and just put $4 on the stage and walked away. And yeah,
just
I
such
was
a
just
timid,
like,
just
oh my god!
Dropping.
But he's like,
is this where it goes?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I just leave this here for you?
yeah. I was like, just go put it on the stage. Just go put it on the stage.
Well, and that's the most annoying thing
Yeah.
too, because you're like, dude, I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to make this a good time.
I was like, even I coached a stripper to be like, look, my guy is
Yo,
super
you were
nervous.
working both angles to
Yeah.
try.
I was like, I'm gonna get him over here. Just turn him out, man. Just turn him out. You know what I'm saying? And
as
she's
far
sitting there,
as legal.
And as I'm sitting there trying to convince him, she's eyeing me like, "Is your guy gonna come over here?
Yeah.
What's up, dude?"
Yeah,
And
well,
I
I'm
was
waiting.
like, as
I'm
like,
waiting.
trying to shove money into his hand.
You're literally just like pushing. It's like a kid that doesn't want to go to the first day of school. You're just pushing him towards the door.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, dude, I can't tell you. The last time we were at a strip club was after one of it was a Formula One weekend over in Austin.
Money was in that strip club, huh?
It's a good time. Anytime there's big events like that, it's a good time to hit the old landing strip or Yellow Rose over there in Austin. Yeah, big time.
The A squad.
They're flying them in like Diddy. No, the only other thing I had, and LG were talking about this a little bit before you got here. I think I saw for the first time ever something I've never seen before. Have you ever seen someone like a student driver actually get into an accident on the road?
Oh, yeah. No, I've been in the car with a student driver.
Okay, I'm
Took
glad
out
we
a couple
didn't.
mailboxes.
I'm glad we didn't. Wait, were you the student driver?
No,
Okay.
I was in the back seat, and this kid was like the little nerd.
Just
and
like
we all
you
knew he was
boys like
nervous,
Mexico.
all nervous as hell. And dude, like he just took a turn so wide. It was in the back of MacArthur's neighborhood, you know, and he just took out 2 mailboxes, and I was like, can we just walk through the blue bars and go back to class? You know, I'm not going to sit here and wait because the guy had to sit there and wait for the cops.
Of course, yeah.
And so we walked through. If you're,
Is it true that that's a federal, like damaging a mailbox? Is that or is that just an old like urban legend?
Oh yeah, like if you damage it's a federal.
If you do it
if they
intentionally.
choose. Oh, I was a swinger, man. I got 3 in a row at one time.
Yeah, we heard you
Allegedly,
2 studs and a swing.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, we always did firecrackers. That was our go-to.
That's a lot of noise.
Yeah, that's intentionally in the middle of the night, seeing your mailbox being lit up like Ho Chi Minh City.
Man.
Or Tehran or Verdot or whichever one.
Jeez.
No, LG was talking. We were talking before you got here. LG was talking about student drivers on an episode a couple months ago, and the one I saw, it was 1604 traffic, and it looked like they had just merged onto 1604, and there's all the construction out here. But I think something startled them, or they saw people braking in front of them.
He couldn't make a choice.
So he got in the lane, but then immediately slammed on his brakes. So the car behind him just
Yeah, that's how you catch a
right into the backside.
paycheck.
Yeah. Well, you could get you could
My
get
neck hurts.
that.
My neck hurts.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen it though.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And you see.
Because the car is like, have you ever? Did you take student driving?
Oh yeah, you got the chicken brake.
Yeah. No. They actually got a
pedals
pedal
over there
on the bottom for the driver to like stop the car.
In my little small town, it was just this contraption where the teacher in the passenger seat just pulled and it did it across. It was like a bar that was set up.
It was almost like a power drift.
That's
power
basically
drift stick.
it looked like you're like Travis Pastrana, doing rally car. That was basically what he had, and he would always put. He was also the JV football coach, like defensive coordinator, and so he would always just randomly pull it just to jack with you too in the middle of things. So it was I learned to drive in the middle of a pasture when I was 10. Like all of that was just a formality at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk some weekend sports, because I know before we get into the main segment and talk basketball, I know there are you had a few things on the list, starting with
Yankees minute.
Get it on the clock.
Hey, give me a minute. The Yankees are back winning series. This is what we need to do. We took 2 out of 3 with our division rivals, the Orioles. And Judge is coming out of his slumps. He has his slump, if you call it that. Still went from God mode to stratosphere. But now we are losing to the Reds, which, you know, they got one of those good players out there. And we just need to get back to winning series. But when we keep having starting pitchers go on the IL, we have to bring up these rooks like we did today. We have some kid I don't even know the name of. He only gave up 3 runs. He almost had a quality start. But we are not scoring runs with runners on base. Now, that is a big problem. But we got Stanton back. He's hitting over 300. Judge is hitting it. And the problem we have now is we have too many good players, and we have like Goldie sitting on the bench, a bunch of people sitting on the bench. They call it a good problem. I call it a problem.
Yeah, any problem is still a problem, whether it's a good one or not.
Yes.
The Rangers have the Orioles starting. I know they were down 4-0 earlier, and I think it's even worse now. But I'm worried the Rangers might be one of those teams that not gets the Orioles jump started or anything, but it feels
they're
like
starting to jump start.
They kind of are, and both of Texas and Baltimore have been equally disappointing.
When they fired their manager, the Orioles have a surprisingly good record.
Yeah,
but they had such a horrible start that they're still
10 games under 500. But because of the damn 3-team wild card now. It's, they're only, save the dog. They're only 5.5, 6 games out of a wild card spot. The Orioles. Rangers are 2.5 out of a wild card spot. I know you talk about having the issue of not getting hits with runners in scoring position. Let me introduce you to the Rangers 4-run rule. Anytime the Rangers score 4 runs in a game.
Yeah.
And the league average is like
3-some.
I think the league average is like high 3s.
Yeah.
It might even be over 4, but it's somewhere right at that mark.
Yeah.
Every time the Rangers are just an average offense and score 4 runs, their record is 27-4.
Jesus.
And let me remind you,
and we got bats sitting on the bench over the Yankees,
they have
man.
38
we got bats
wins.
sitting on the bench.
38 wins total. So that means when the Rangers don't score 4 runs, they are 11 and
56.
37.
37.
11 and 37 when they don't score 4 runs.
Bro,
that's pretty bad. That's pretty.
Wild.
But I keep telling myself there's
still hope,
and it's only 2 games. And
hey, we still got half a season, man.
The fact like the Rangers have and it's an outlier because they've had a couple games lately of 16 runs and another game of 11 runs, but their run differential, they're 3 games under 500, but their run differential is like plus 30.
No, that's not.
It's the pitching that's anchoring it, but they're just not. They're still in the long run not scoring.
They're not
runs per game, right? So I'm still. I mean, obviously now with really tomorrow or Wednesday night's live NBA draft show is kind of the last fall sports we're going to talk for a while. It's July we're going to do our NFL divisional previews. We're going to talk more baseball on each show. So
We're going to try to come up with a couple segments,
yeah, I think you just today in Hitler, as you suggested earlier.
Here's a Hitler fact for you.
Yeah, here's a Hitler fact.
I
for
do
you.
not want that segment.
No,
sir.
I'm watching baseball, but I'm about to it's about to be the moment where the Rangers are either going to be buyers or sellers, and it's really going to affect the next 2 months of my baseball viewing experience.
I'm gonna start doing some deep dive on the Ocho and get some cornhole stats, maybe some axe throwing.
I was about to say I watched
stats.
axe. I actually did watch axe throwing on the Ocho.
Jugs.
They throw them both with the same hand at the same time.
Oh man, Viking style, bro.
You wouldn't believe what these guys, true athletes. You wouldn't
yes.
believe what they're capable of.
Drinking a beer while throwing an axe. There's nothing American about that.
Yeah, I did see something else from your weekend. I saw you did some more guerrilla marketing at the bar. So let's see. Let's recount the ways you have promoted the show. You've stolen people's phones at the bar.
I did not steal them. I borrowed them.
You casually borrowed them. We'll say that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Through force.
Intimidation.
Intimidation. Speak softly but carry a big stick, as a former president once said. So you've done that for us. You have now taken it to a bit of a new level. And it wasn't even someone that you knew either.
No.
So I get a text from Cap, was this Friday or Saturday night, one of the nights this weekend, and it's just a blow-up doll do we have that picture? That is being passed around.
Oh, there it is. I just took it.
Someone you don't even know. They're celebrating something, a birthday, an anniversary, a divorce, a death. They're celebrating something at the bar. And Kat just writes, Sports Cave Live, going down both arms of the doll.
In prime position, dude.
No one markets their show like we do.
Oh, man. Guerrilla marketing at its best. And then I put Captain right over the thing. Do we have the other one with the girls going ass to mouth with the doll?
Okay. That's maybe an acronym.
A&M.
A little ATM. Maybe next time. No, I do enjoy seeing the new ways you find to market this show. You want to mention the golf here before we get into the main segment?
Yeah, man. The golf, man. Tommy Fleetwood,
that was brutal.
He just cannot get a PGA win, man. He's won on some of the Europeans and some of the other tournaments.
Did you see the official stats since 1983? Mm-hmm. He has 41 top 10 finishes on the PGA Tour without a win.
Yeah.
The next closest golfer is at 34.
Yeah,
and it's someone who is retired. His record is not going to be beat by anyone currently. Yeah. I mean, he's just adding to his. Everyone else was at 32, 33, 34, and then there's Tommy with 41 top 10 finishes.
Yeah, someone who actually is capable of winning a major, who's capable of winning any match, and he sat there on hole 18, and all he had was a gap wedge. He pulled out his 50, I think it's 52, and then he was like, "Oh no, man! His adrenaline. I know his adrenaline was pumping. I know that feeling when
he thought he was caught between shots."
Yeah, he was like, "I'm gonna hit this harder in the distance." And the caddy told him, "This is your club.
Yep.
This is your club. This is your distance, and you got to trust your caddy on this." But he thought his adrenaline was pumping so much he needed to club down because he was gonna hit it an extra, 20%. And nope, comes up short, just lifts it on the green. And then you had old buddy come in and just put it 8 feet next to the hole. And guess what Tommy does he chips it, and it lands right behind who won
Keegan Bradley.
Keegan Bradley, right behind his spot. So Keegan gets the best read possible.
Very similar to what we saw last week.
Yeah, and Tommy missed it on the right. And
it wasn't even close.
Yeah, I mean,
that putt had
it was
no
about
chance of going in.
it was like half a ball
Yeah.
away. And then guess who just read that and was like, let me go ahead and just set up a little bit more to the left. And they switch positions, and Keegan Bradley wins the tournament.
Yeah, and Keegan, that's Keegan's hometown tournament. I mean,
he wanted it.
It's held in Connecticut. He's from Vermont or Rhode, one of the clam chowder eating states up there north
New
of
England clam chowder.
Yeah, north of actually north of New York City. So second time he wins the Travelers. He's always talked about how important that tournament is to him. Nance had all of the pictures of when Keegan was a kid going to the tournament. It was a whole storyline all weekend. But the fact that he still had to make that putt to win it.
Yeah.
But the storyline to me, not just Fleetwood on 18, but playing the final 3 holes of the tournament at +2. He bogeys 16 and then honestly should have bogeyed 17, saved par, and then gets up to 18 and has no confidence, no momentum anymore, if you believe in momentum.
Oh, and what's up with the old buddy who chipped it in
from the rough? Who was that? Russell Henley? I think it was Henley playing with him.
Mr. Morality himself. No one saw this, but he sat there and set up for a chip or a putt, and the ball moved a dimple. And if you've seen a golf ball, just one little dimple, so that's a millimeter. Boom. And that's a stroke. That's a stroke. If you touch that ball
and he caused it,
and he caused it, and he doesn't know, even if you plant that club below it and you cause the terrain to where it falls backwards, that's a stroke.
Right. No
one saw it, so he called a stroke on himself.
I missed that.
Yeah, he did that, I think, day 2.
Okay.
Day 2. And, they did a whole expose on it about, like, this is what golf is all about.
Oh, I bet Nance loved it. It was slobbering all over it.
He was like me in a strip club.
There is callback.
And I was like, there's a lot of meat on that bone.
There is no part of me that ever needs to hear Nance do anything besides golf. Like he is just so much more comfortable. Like you get him on a golf course,
he's in his element.
You put him next to Tony Romo going, "Oh, Jim!
I don't know about
yeah, like that. It's not. That's just not Jim Nance. And now I'm talking about, I plan on retiring in 2037 or whatever. Like already, and now I just would love if CBS told Nance, like, thanks but no thanks. We don't need you for another 10 years.
That man chipped from the rough about a 60-foot chip,
which also adds pressure.
And he ended up tying. Will basically end up tying
for third at that point.
Third, which would tying for second.
Tying for second, yeah.
So if he didn't call that dimple shot, there would have been a playoff.
Well, if
everything went to Courtney,
or if Keegan had missed the putt, then we would have gotten a 3-way playoff between the actual final
my favorite
3 group. Yeah, we heard the 2 studs.
Hey, hold up.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't go to Pegasus, dude.
It's so
we didn't go to
interesting.
Pegasus. We went to PTs.
I get great. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I get great service at Pegasus. It's so weird. I don't get it.
I'm a bear.
Yeah,
I drink for free all night long.
I don't understand.
Baby.
They see the roommate with me, but still free drinks from every angle. Now, it's so weird the Tommy Fleetwood conversation because I think we all think of him as a premier player. Yeah. Of his generation. I mean, he's not Rory, Scotty.
He's always
level,
in the top
but
10
who is he?
Somewhere.
Right now, would you rather bet on Justin Thomas or Tommy Fleetwood? Because I think they're
Thomas because he won.
Thomas because
he wins.
Or like
if Fleetwood starts
Morikawa,
he's
got a couple majors, but
he needs to break through and win, and then I'll start putting money on him. But it's like. After Rory had that masterful meltdown at the Masters. Yeah, you like to play on words.
Nailed it.
Yep. He stuck the landing. He couldn't win a major. And I always betted on him to choke. until he finally came through and won the Masters this year, which I still thought he was going to choke. And,
well, you remember those first 5 holes, Bryson had a 3-shot lead.
Yeah.
And then Bryson
And I was
cratered.
texting my dad. I'm like, he's choking. He's going to choke. But that's right. He's got to break through. That's all he's got to do. Break through, actually close the door and win. Listen to your caddy. You know, that's what you pay him for.
You know, but
And,
all of the guys, you know, the people thinking about it like that, it's for them, it's normally the breakthrough to win a major.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy is.
He just needs to win a match.
He just needs to get some win on the board on American soil.
It was like Greg Norman, man. He won matches, but he didn't win no majors.
Exactly. And I think we're like with Fleetwood, there's very few more consistent golfers in terms of, you know, average earnings, you know, where top 10 finishes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just somehow all of that good is completely overshadowed because he's never actually won.
Yeah.
I mean, his career earnings have to be
Oh, man, he's a millionaire.
10 times over at least.
Yeah.
I mean, without
Hands
ever.
down. Well, we had some other sports. Another champion was crowned. The LSU Tigers.
You want to take a guess on Tommy Fleetwood's career earnings real quick?
I'm going to say 23.
Close, 31 and a half. 31.
Kids, go pick up a golf stick.
Yeah, dude, yeah, you just got to just be consistent, make the cut every weekend. Quickly, LG let us slide through all of last week without, I mean, I wouldn't expect this from him, but it was a birthday weekend for one LG.
Sweet LG.
And I would assume we have just crazy stories of hedonism and raging all weekend.
Just
I'm surprised.
Driving to Boys Town.
I'm surprised he's able to actually run the show tonight. He's not recovering
He's
from.
kind of quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us all about it there, buddy.
Yeah, I went out to eat and went home, went to sleep.
That's a good. At least tell me. I mean, you didn't just like go to Wendy's and get spicy nuggets or something.
Nah, I
Like
went to a Japanese restaurant called Suko, which is on a Boulevardy in 1604, and it's pretty legit, I would have to say.
I think, did you turn off your phone? Because when I realized it was your birthday, I called you all late and it just went straight to voicemail.
Well, you called me at 1 a.m. My bedtime's 10 p.m.
I know.
So, yeah.
But I would have got your ass out.
Yeah, I was asleep.
Man, I don't know how you can pull off a 10 p.m. bedtime with all of the, especially with the Switch 2.
Oh man, I'm old, man. I get up early, so I go to bed early.
Oh,
I feel
you get up early, you go to bed early. That's a successful route.
yeah, it's kind of sounded like Sam Presti preaching consistency there.
Consistency.
Well, happy belated birthday to you,
Yes,
LG.
sir.
Oh, thanks.
I did get a response to the text message I sent. I didn't call like you did, but I sent a text.
I call.
I sent
I
a
want
text.
to make it personal.
Yeah,
Appreciate it very much.
very, very, very much. Let's get into the main segment here because we do have the end of the NBA season, or at least the actual games have now finally wrapped up. I think all in all, grade the playoffs, your enjoyment of the playoffs from opening around. Like also the Thunder, this was like, well, I heard the number. It was like 2 months ago. It was like almost 2 months ago, 40-something days ago, that the Thunder played their first game of round one.
The playoffs are damn near like half the football season.
But you're one that wants to give them more time to.
I want to cut down on the regular season. I like the playoffs.
Well, you just want to play a best of 3 in 4-minute quarters?
Yeah, I did not say those words.
No, I don't know, man. The injuries.
If you wanted me to grade it, I would say I would give it a B. But you know why I'm giving it a B? Injuries, just like you said.
I think that's the most deflating part of it because I think we got multiple 7-game series in the first round.
We got buzzer beaters.
We got upsets. We got 2
ridiculous,
seeds losing to 7 seeds in the first round.
Yeah. The first round was amazing. Like it was just like every single one of them had like storylines, back and forth. You got people banging. Like it was the beginning jumped off. The second round, we had some injuries on some key games. Not as good. The third round was fantastic. And then, then comes the old finals,
Yeah, we're obviously going to talk about the injuries because it's unfortunate. We talked about it last week when we were, not arguing, but talking about some of the potential ways to alleviate some of the injury concerns with, as the athletes have gotten, progressed to the level of explosiveness and athleticism that they have now compared to, I made the roommate watch a game from the 96 NBA Finals, Bulls Sonics, because I wanted her to see, one, the Sonics playing in an NBA Finals. Because
there's a little spite to the Oklahoma City there.
1,000%. 1,000%. Because I was explaining to her the whole, Bennett, the Oklahoma City businessman, telling Seattle he's not going to move the team, and then a year later move. I was giving her the whole backstory. And so I was like, look, this is what they took away from us. This is what they took away from Seattle.
So much better.
Exactly. So I was making her watch that. And, her first observation was it looks like a completely different sport. I mean,
because they play half course.
Yeah.
Half court, throw it down low, move around some screens, kick out, all this stuff, look for the cutters. That's they ran through the big man.
Yeah, 1,000%. And, comparing that style of play, because you also got to think about, right before that, it was – the bad boys and the, ultra physicality.
Show her some of those games.
Exactly. So I was, trying
Bill
to
Lambier.
show, how poor Rudy Tomjanovich getting absolutely cold clocked. I was just showing her a bit of the progression of the league and specifically talking about Seattle, Oklahoma City. But I don't necessarily know that what we saw in this playoff run with the injuries is necessarily a massive flag of what's to come, or if it's just a small sample size with a lot of outliers and guys that really, like, Halliburton shouldn't have been playing.
Yeah,
with that strained calf. That is the number one injury.
Achilles.
The popped Achilles. That is what can happen when, that's why Luka's last game with the Mavs on Christmas Day, he strained his calf. He sits out 2 months. They thought he wasn't rushing to come back. But also, I think he's seen guys like KD pop the Achilles with a strained calf. It feels like there's some, Halliburton, if this was a regular season,
but
he'd be out for a month, but it's Game 7.
In every
and now he's out for a year.
I'm sure you even dreamed of Game 7 finals. You coming in hurt and just willing yourself just to sit there and make the game winner. And guess who was made the game winner in 4 games?
Yeah.
Throughout the playoff was Halliburton. So there's no way he's missing it.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. But I
don't think anyone did wrong. I don't think the Pacers did wrong in allowing him to play. I don't think Halliburton did wrong in playing.
It ruined their next year, but who knows when you're going to get that chance again.
And that's the thing, especially when you're Indiana, and it's kind of, I shouldn't say fluke, but when you started the playoffs, I don't think any Pacers fan was thinking, we're about to make an NBA Finals run. And then when you get there, now it's when are we going to be back?
We are in the era. We are beginning a new era where defense is king once again.
Well, having officials that don't call hyper physical defense on one side of the court, but then Lou Dort flops across the court and gets calls.
That was awful, man.
But it's the power of, honestly, San Antonio used to have a lot of this too.
What happened to the flopping rule? Why didn't they sit there and be like, yo, That's an obvious flop because that was like, yeah, could be called a moving screen. But that's just them walking up the court, getting your point guard, room to back and forth where he goes back and forth.
Well, and also
that happens every freaking play.
And it's Nembhard bumping into Lou Dort. Lou Dort is an NFL linebacker playing NBA basketball. Like, he doesn't fall over like that. But again, I think it's when you have 20,000 people in unison all on, like it's North Korea up there. Exactly. They're all Thunder propaganda. They work the refs perfect. It's I think the best home crowd advantage right now in the league. We saw it with their point differential across the playoff run. I just think you get those calls when you put so much pressure on the officials and play as physical as they do on defense. It puts pressure on the officials because we can't make a call every time down the court, so they get away with a lot on defense. They play great defense. I'm not taking, but they found a balance there to not get calls on the defensive end while getting some pretty soft, floppy calls.
I am a full component on these refs they've got plans. I've seen them with the Spurs too many times. Phantom calls. Like,
how about the fact that Scott Foster, we have the phone logs where he was talking 30 plus times to a known mobster who was working, setting betting lines. Like, we know that. How does Scott Foster still have a job? Because the NBA had to say, oh, no. It was all Donaghy. It was all Donaghy that did it. It was one guy. It's not a cancerous problem across all of our officials. Even though. And
when Donaghy was about to expose everything, he went quiet.
Yeah. And we have court documents that show multiple other officials were talking to the same mobsters that were working the lines for the game. And
it's funny, like, now that there's so many parlays and stuff where it's like over under 8-9 blocks, stuff like that. And then you get it like right on. You're like,
It's kind of suspicious, isn't it?
I'm like, maybe that foul that was called, that was definitely a block, But like, the officials definitely, once Halliburton went down, they were not going to let Oklahoma City lose that game in Oklahoma City.
And once Halliburton went down, Indy didn't have anybody that could put pressure on Oklahoma City, really. They
started that full court pressure in the beginning of the fourth, into the third, and they were doing work.
Yeah, it got up to 20, 21 point lead, and then they cut it all the way back down to 10, maybe even 9.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, they got it down to single digits, and they were doing it with full court defense, old school, a la Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And then they started calling these ticky-tack fouls. But we also got to say, it didn't help because the Pacers were turning it over as well.
Yeah,
that was
as soon as Halliburton went down, you can't have 20, I think what they finished, 21, 22 turnovers in the game. You can't because every single one of those turnovers is an extra possession to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, an extra shot.
And a lot of those turnovers were the worst kind where it was open fast break that led to fast breaks. Exactly. So, it was funny because, TJ McConnell was single-handedly keeping them in the game while also losing the game for them because he would hit the shot but then commit a turnover the next possession. So it was like, one step forward, 2 steps back, and the Pacers could never.
They couldn't recover with the refs calling those flop calls. Then they started calling the fouls when they were doing the full court press. Pacers were killing themselves with their own turnovers.
The turnovers,
it was done,
insurmountable. I thought 7 minutes. The first 7 minutes of that game, I was starting to think like we're about to have an all-timer. Like this is about to Halliburton's on fire. Halliburton was still the third leading scorer in the game at halftime.
Yeah,
actually, I think halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah,
he was still
he was on fire.
Yeah,
and he said, "I'm taking the shots. I'm taking over."
And it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was just like you knew you were just gonna get Halliburton and SGA going back and forth, just punch after punch, heavyweight championship style.
Which also should be said. SGA. I'll say something good first. Only ever committed one turnover all of Game 7, and it was late in the fourth quarter when he was stumbling and just kind of tossed.
When they double teamed
exactly.
him.
That was his one turnover all game. He only shot 8 for 27 though.
Yeah, he wasn't hot.
And that's where I say if what you're saying it would have come down to Halliburton or SGA.
Yeah,
Halliburton was hot. Halliburton was feeling
How
it.
did Jalen Williams not win the MVP?
Oh, they were going to give it to SGA for narrative purposes the whole time.
The last person to win.
SGA did average 30 a game for the series.
He did, but
overall.
Average? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because all he needed was 27 in Game 7 to hit a 30-point average for the whole series. And he got there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's the first person since, if I'm wrong, Tim Duncan to win a league MVP, and a finals MVP in the same year.
Yeah, I think that's pretty sure that is correct. It's funny, too, because the comparisons to the Duncan prime Spurs golden era to what Oklahoma City might be stepping into now. Obviously Sam Presti is the architect of what Oklahoma City has done, and we know he's from RC's executive tree, and it's really, I tell you what, LG, you have that Sam Presti audio. Ended up, anytime a team wins a championship, you start getting a lot of these stories from behind the scenes, or guys like Spurs fans obviously know. A guy that does it the Spurs way, you don't hear from a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like Sam Presti doesn't do one-on-one interviews with people. He meets with the press twice a year, beginning of the season, end of the season, and that's it. So you don't hear a whole lot from him.
Okay.
But he was, he goes all the way back to Seattle. He drafted Durant.
Oh, wow.
He was 29 years old when he got the Seattle GM job after he left the Spurs, and he's been with them ever since.
So is he like a little he must have been like a little prodigy, because with the Kevin Durant, Harden, and Westbrook drafts.
And Ibaka. They were killing it on the draft and couldn't get it done. And now, oddly enough, this team that he's built has one player on the roster that was taken with a single-digit draft pick. They have one guy that was in the top 9 of their...
What was SGA, 12 or something?
11, I think.
11.
Yeah, and Jalen Williams was 12.
Okay.
Chet was number 2. But this was Sam Presti.
Oh, Wonder Bread himself.
Back in 2021, talking about, they had just made the SGA trade. They had just, gotten 5 first-round picks and SGA for Paul George.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, what this process is going to look like. And I think for a Spurs fan, you can listen to Sam Presti from 3 years ago and kind of get an idea of what the Spurs...
We were killing our GM during all those trades. We were like, what are you doing? Like, we didn't trust him one bit. And now we're like forever in his debt.
Exactly. And it feels the only team that has more ammunition over the next 5 years than the Spurs is still somehow Oklahoma City with as good of a team they had. So this was Sam Presti from 2021, 4 years ago.
As I said earlier, we can't be reactionary or emotional about it. We just have to keep chipping away every single day, knowing that over time we'll achieve our goals if we have the poise, the patience, and the willingness to adjust to the setbacks that we, will inevitably encounter. As they say, shortcuts cut long runs short, and we're going to do everything in our power not to allow that to happen. And when we do get back to the postseason, we want it to be an arrival and not an appearance. And arrival meaning that we can return, we can be there, we can take some chance or bad fortune and not have it sink us completely. We've seen the benefit of that, and during our earlier years, we don't want a position where we get there but we have no way to get back. And that's the focus and the precision with which we're working. We understand the ecosystem of the NBA, I think, very, very well. We understand how that works. We understand what we have to work with. And I feel extremely confident and optimistic about the future that we have here. We just have to continue to stick with it
That's good. Yeah, and like a couple of things he said there. I think most importantly, when he says we understand the landscape of the NBA and we understand what we have to work around within.
He's talking about like a small market team.
1,000%.
Knowing that these stars are going to go somewhere
1,000%. And knowing that
they don't
he
have
went
the capital.
through that one time already. With the Durant, Westbrook, Harden.
Which one do I keep? Which one do I lose?
Exactly.
And he's like, that's why he's got, like, just like the Spurs, we got picks going up to 2032, and it's because we know that some of these stars are going to want out, and we're going to need another pick via Charlotte, via Atlanta, or something like that, to where we might get a chance to get up into the top 10 to get another star.
Or if you look at what Oklahoma City has done over these, specifically the last 3 years, we'll look at it. So you got SGA, and we've talked about, that's your anchor, that's your Wemby, that's your potential MVP in the future guy. Now SGA
we want him
is
franchise.
Right. He's your one unquestionable Batman. Your 1A.
Supermax.
Everything. But then, Oklahoma City's next two, Jalen Williams and Chet, Jalen was a 12th pick in the draft. Chet was number 2 pick. Mm-hmm. There, if you're just making kind of the same nucleus core comparison, that's your Steph Castle and Dylan Harper, who they're about to take 2 in the draft, Wednesday night. So there's your 3 that you feel like you are absolutely committed to, and you're going to build around. And then you look at the guys, you look at the rest of your roster, and this Oklahoma City team had Josh Giddey, who was a flawed player, but a triple-double machine, a solid young asset. Well, they choose to flip him for Caruso back, and that trade was during the NBA Finals last year, which we're going to talk about a trade that was just made during. It's so weird when teams are making trades during the NBA Finals.
I told you that trade was going to happen right before the.
It's very weird. It's unstable.
I was like, because he's an egomaniac.
Right. So they trade for Caruso. Caruso's 30, 31, I think, oldest player on the roster. They only have 2 other guys that are over 27. Yeah. Like, they are so young, and they've got the young core. Then they go out, they offer Hartenstein, the big free agent contract. They get him in, address their size and rebounding. And then they make the Caruso trade and address their perimeter defense.
We need a Hartenstein.
See, and that's where I say, thinking about, because now Oklahoma City has, 13 first-round picks over the next 7 years to supplement the roster. Yeah. So if they decide, you know what, Chet, you're always injured. You haven't put on any weight.
Man, he's softer than Wonder Bread.
Exactly.
Man.
And so, soft. But now that they have, they've already got the championship, but now that they haven't used any of their real assets to chase that big star, they've still got the young core. Now they can, flip Chet for more draft capital, or for another.
Especially when he's cheap right now, he doesn't have any max con.
They just have every avenue of team building is available to them because they were patient. And I think that's the biggest takeaway when we compare what Oklahoma City is today versus what we want the Spurs to be in the coming years. It's Oklahoma City's patience has allowed them to build a championship team without bleeding assets to get it, and also has now set them up better than any team in the league to combat the changing salary cap, to keep the team together, or to get supplemental pieces without really having to absolutely blow up the core of the team.
As it says in, go to the cheesy sports dad talk thesaurus, you want to be the one fielding calls, not making them. You know?
Presty. Presty went full dad sports thesaurus because his line there, shortcuts cut long run short.
Yeah.
And it's cheesy. He's absolutely right. Look at what the Rockets just did. Yeah. Rockets, that's a shortcut.
Are we gonna get into it?
Well, in a second, but just the way that Oklahoma City has avoided those shortcuts and has stayed patient, I think that's, as we compare that to the Spurs, the potential, any deal for Giannis, you're giving up one of those 3 core assets of Castle, Harper, obviously not Wemby, but you're giving up one of those first 2 guys. That would have been a shortcut.
Oh, yeah.
This KD trade, even if you didn't have to give up Steph or Harper, you're still giving up Sohan or someone that is on the peripheral of that core foundation that you've been building and developing. Yeah. That would have absolutely been a shortcut that Houston just chose to take. I just think, as cheesy as it is, that there's a reason Sam Presti says that, because he learned it in San Antonio and he stayed true to his guns. And credit to the Oklahoma City owners,
the old pop tree,
for giving him that room, and not panicking when the first super team they had ended up fizzling out with only one NBA Finals appearance, 2012 when they lost to the Heat.
Maybe the Mavericks need to take that and just not panic.
Dude, the Mavericks right now, are like the
trust in Nico.
No,
trust in Nico. Don't panic.
Being a Mavs fan right now is like being just a random Iranian just trying to live his day-to-day life while
what is going on
Nico
here?
at the top. We're bombing who? What? Why? Why?
They're coming and bombing us?
Yeah, why? Who thought this would be a good idea?
Now it's peace talks?
Yeah, no, it's dude, Mavs fans are so. It's funny you say that because obviously we're going to talk NBA draft Wednesday night as we do the live show during the draft, and it's so there's so many of my Mavs friends that watched these NBA playoffs and just thought like, this is why you don't trade Luka. Like, I get all of the everything they've said so far, sure, whatever. Yeah. But this Mavs team beat Oklahoma City soundly last year in the playoffs, ran up against Boston, who I think Boston, if a healthy Tatum, I think Boston would have beat Oklahoma City. Did they have all the
pieces? Did they add any pieces from last year to this year?
Yeah. So Oklahoma City went out and got Hartenstein because Lively and Gafford pounded them in the playoffs last year. PJ Washington was physical wing, so they went out and got Caruso. Like, the Oklahoma City's moves that they made were intentionally made to get past
Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah, and not just solely Dallas, but obviously
they saw a weakness
between them and the rest of the upper teams of the West. But a lot of my Mavs fans, buddies, were just saying like, this could have been us playing Indiana in the finals in back-to-back years, and that we would have actually gotten that one. They would have gotten that one. But no, of course.
Sorry, Mavs fans. You will not convince me that you would have beat Oklahoma City this year.
I don't think I don't think that.
I think their defense ramped up. They got better.
Well, and again, I think the additions Oklahoma City made were perfectly to combat the loss to Dallas last year, and I just don't think that is a snap your fingers and you're right back there. You mentioned, though, looking at the odds already out for next year. Obviously, Oklahoma City.
Did Houston jump Oklahoma City?
No, not even close.
Really?
No. They jumped. They jumped significantly, but they're not even top 3. Wow. You want to guess? So Thunder are 1, and it's the biggest. It's the biggest gap between the first round of championship odds between the number 1 team and the number 2 team on the list. So Oklahoma City is plus 220. Basically, Vegas is saying, like, we're not giving you any advantage. We think they're going to win back-to-back. Yeah. Number 2.
Number 2.
It's the team that won the most games besides Oklahoma City in the regular season this year.
You're talking about Cleveland?
Cleveland, yeah. Cleveland, number 2, but it falls all the way to 7-1. They're plus 700.
Yeah.
So that's a huge gap.
I wouldn't put Cleveland number 2. Mm-mm.
I don't think I would either. Knicks are 3 plus 750.
That's what I thought was going to be number 2.
Yeah. And they've still got.
I put Cleveland like in 6 or 7, man. Like, come on.
Now that the problem is the Halliburton and the Tatum injury pretty much knock two Eastern teams down the pecking order.
Move them up to 5.
Rockets, that's where I would have them. Rockets are 4th at plus 850. And I think I would still have Cleveland ahead of Houston, even after the KD
I would
trade.
have Houston ahead of the Knicks, honestly. Like, I think KD is going to give them that offense that they so
I mean, they were a 2
needed.
seed in the
West.
stacked West last year. They are not to be slept on.
And their defense is good, and they just needed a pure score, and they got it. So, like, I don't know. I think Houston's going to be a problem next year, and they're doing a win now. They want to win now. You know, they know with KD they got 2 years.
Yeah, they just shortened their window from 6 years to 2 or 3
until Wemby comes along and our rookies get a little older. OKC is going to be better. Like, they got 2 years.
The number 1 pick in the draft is also in the division. I mean, the Southwest is insane.
Trust in Nico.
With Houston, Oklahoma City, Houston, the 2 best teams in the West.
Texas and Oklahoma. Who would
And
have
then
thought?
Dallas and San Antonio just got the top 2 picks in the draft. Just absolutely. So speaking of those, Dallas is 22-1.
What's the
Spurs? Kind of. Like, I don't think they should be much higher than this, but compared to the teams, they're 100-1. But these are the other teams that are 100-1, which is kind of the crazy thing to me. Toronto, Atlanta, and Memphis. The Memphis one, I think San Antonio and Memphis should both be like 85-1 and ahead of Atlanta and Toronto. But, yeah, I mean, Memphis still has Triple J and Ja, and San Antonio is about to get Wemby back healthy with –
I need to give me some of those like early numbers for like win total, because I still like 45. I wonder how much I get back, because I think we're gonna get 45 wins.
I think you could. I'll tell you now. Vegas does not agree with you. Just looking at these listings, we don't have the absolute.
Right in the.
Yeah, they've never been known to make money off of people making bad bets.
Oh no, Vegas is always on.
No,
point.
we'll definitely keep an eye, because I love looking at the preseason over unders like that, because I mean I had it. I think
what
it's
happens
in my
when we
other
draft
notebook.
Dylan Harper? We're just gonna shoot up to like 80-1.
So I think these odds are with the assumption that Dallas takes Cooper Flagg and San Antonio takes Dylan Harper, because the draft really starts after the second pick, because the third pick is where there's your first kind of, dude, your boy Nipple, Con Nipple is shooting up the draft boards.
Let's get him at 14.
Multiple mocks have him going 4th all of a sudden. I know it's crazy.
I'm telling you that
in this draft, I don't think there's any way he should be higher than 7th. And he's shooting up draft boards.
Because there is a need for that dog to get rebounds, like a Hardenstein, like a Steven Adams.
Just dead eye shooting.
Just like, we're not.
With size.
We don't need you. Just like do some putbacks up there. You know what I'm saying? But you stay down low and bang and grab those offensive rebounds and stuff like that, defensive rebounds. There is a need for that, and I think a lot of GMs are taking notice on that.
Yeah, it just feels like in a draft that is potentially this deep with talent like it is, it feels like Knipple, you're settling for something that's more of a sure thing. Yeah. Like he's might not be the top end potential of guys that are drafted behind him.
His floor is high, ceiling's not as high as others.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But you get what you get.
Well, and the team that potentially would be getting that would be Charlotte, a team that needs, like, we just need players, man. Like, we can't keep taking risks.
Charlotte, we'll give you 4
high
picks.
potential
we'll give
guys.
you 4 picks, man.
You do love your Knipple.
I'd get a Knipple jerk.
On the couple of other NBA final fun facts, on the Achilles tear injury, from 1990 to 2023, there were 45 Achilles tears.
Wow.
Suffered by NBA players.
And we got 3 of them.
3 in the playoffs, but 8 in the last year alone, all total.
That's got to be.
And another one of the in a draft prospect that was not one of the big names, but a potential late first, early second round guy. He tore his Achilles while he was working out in San Antonio last week.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I would love to hear maybe
it's
someone.
the shoes. I don't know.
I don't know because it doesn't. Like I said, I'm not prepared to say like we have a plague.
We need to get one of these nerds on it.
That's exactly what we need.
Nerd.
We need some sports scientist.
Don't give me stats. Give me a reason why these players are getting injured. You know,
there's got to be something to it, and I don't think it's game like season schedule because we didn't see it. The games have been the season's been 82 games for.
Well, as you just showed the wife roommate what a 1996 game looked like versus what today's game looked like. Faster, slower.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be more injuries.
Yeah, there wasn't nearly as much explosiveness.
Yeah. Cutting, running off screens, stuff like that.
I think that's where you're getting onto something with the, just the more violent cutting and explosiveness of it.
Exactly, because it's all pick and rolls.
Yeah.
Like 70% of the teams play
start
pick and rolls.
Stop, explode towards the rim.
I mean, we're going to be playing pick and roll, offense heavily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as you should with the personnel available to you. The game itself, also on the injury, ESPN, if you're going to tell me how bad the injury is and, that's just so difficult to watch, but now we're going to show it to you 94 more times. Like, unnecessary. You knew what the injury was
him just
instantly.
Crying on the way out.
Just slamming the ground. Like, we don't need any of that. But again,
NBA does not. The NFL is a little bit better with that. They show it once. They're like, all right, we don't need to see that again.
I think they've gotten better, and especially ever since Joe and Troy saw a guy die on the field.
Yeah,
I kind of think the whole league has taken a bit of a different approach to.
These are people.
Yeah, exactly. And ESPN, it's just pieces on a board game. But Game 7. It was the most watched NBA Finals game in 6 years. Averaged 16.5 million. Peaked over 19 million at one point there in the second half.
If Halliburton, man, that would have been a great duel, dude.
Yeah, and it kind of dispels if you're putting a good product in front of people.
Yeah, they're gonna watch.
They're gonna watch. And the 6 years, 6 years ago. We're now looking at 7 different NBA champions in the last 7 years, which there's been a lot of concern, I guess, among NBA analysts that this parity is.
I think I've been hearing there's no rivalries anymore. They want to make rivals you can say the old
make
school
rivals though.
Like
that's
the
just
Knicks,
got to
Pacers.
Yeah, that's got to organ. That was a good series. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be the old school rivals coming again. But it's when's the Bulls and Pistons got relevant a little bit this year. But if the Bulls are relevant, you got the Bulls Pistons. You know what I'm saying? That's a rivalry. New York and Bulls. Bulls just need to get better.
It's embarrassing that in a city as big as Chicago, that should be an anchor of NBA teams. But the 7 different that goes back to when Toronto beat Golden State when Kawhi's 1 year in Toronto stops the Golden State three-peat. Kevin Durant tears his Achilles or ruptures his Achilles, and since then we've had Lakers, Bucks, Warriors, Nuggets, Celtics, Thunder. And I mean, as much as Vegas says Oklahoma City's going to repeat, I just kind of think the parity of the league is going to be we might go 10 straight years with 10 different winners as it's shaken out.
Especially when an injury can just sit there and derail you.
Exactly.
As much as a Boston, Boston could have been the one this year if Tatum, because Tatum was going absolutely crazy.
Well, and Boston's odds to repeat at the beginning of the year were it wasn't as much of a gap as Oklahoma City has this year.
Yeah.
But Boston was clearly the Vegas favorite to win it at the beginning of the year. The only other thing I like to do this because I'm just an old school radio nerd. The Oklahoma City radio broadcast their play-by-play is a guy named Matt Pinto. And that might be a familiar name to some. For me,
Pinto Bean.
he was spelled the same way. He was the Mavs radio play-by-play guy from 97 to 01. And then, while I was in high school growing up in North Texas, he was our Bill Land. He was the TV guy from like 01 to 05 or 06. Eventually ends up with the team in Seattle. And he's another one like Presty, who's been there. He survived the move from the Pacific Northwest to the Heartland, has been with the Thunder ever since they became the Thunder. And it's always cool to me when a guy like that, he's bounced around. He's been with the Hornets in the 90s. When the Hornets were America's favorite NBA team in the 90s with, Zoe and Muggsy and LJ. He was their play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
He was, I think he spent a couple of years with the Clippers maybe. But, and he's been in Oklahoma City now 15, 16 years. And last night, to see a guy, like, as a radio nerd, to see a guy get to make a championship call to a radio audience, it's so different than TV because the TV, it's national. It's Mike Breen and Doris Burke talking. These guys, they poured their hearts out, Mike. It's just
they get hype on the radio.
Yeah. So I found the call from Pinto last night.
All right, nerd out.
And it's just local. I think that's the cool thing about it. It's for his fans, not for the national audience.
Yeah.
You got that, LG?
Thunder fans, feel this moment. The uncommon young team proves to be unstoppable. It's over at Paycom Center. Final in Game 7, the Thunder 103, the Pacers 91. A dream realized. The storybook season is complete. The final chapter reads, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the 2025 NBA champions. Loud City party hardy. Your Thunder, undeniably the best in basketball in 24-25, storming through the league with incredible domination, offering an epic season for the ages, and winning an epic NBA Finals for the ages. In Game 7, 103-91, the Pacers, the final to fall. As this monumental moment, 17 seasons in the making, OKC has seen it through to wear the crown. Treasure this. Cherish this. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the 2025 NBA champions.
That's good enough.
And party hardy.
Party hardy.
Oh, my God, bro.
We have stormed through the league, and the Thunder are. Look, I know it's cheesy, but there's something about hearing your guy do the call.
Yeah.
Like hearing your local voice celebrate your championship, because it does. I mean, it feels like he's one of us. He's one of you. He's one of an actual fan.
It's like the old Yankees announcer where Derek Jeter still had him after he passed away.
1,000%.
Still let him make the call and come into the plate. Number two, Derek Jeter.
Exactly. You
Hall
just
of
want to
Fame
hear.
hat.
You just want to hear your local guy celebrate with you. We'll talk more of the KD trade Wednesday night because oddly it's the first thought I had when I read the return package.
I didn't read the return.
Okay, so Jalen Green, who think what you will about him, he's a young developing player, but it seems like Houston had seen enough of him and were ready. They drafted Reed Shepherd last year, and he was in the G League all year.
Isn't he like the shit starter?
No, that's the other guy they traded, Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, so they gave up Brooks as well. Green, they'll replace with Shepherd, and they got Amin Thompson that's going to take those minutes anyway. I think they were just kind of done with the Green experiment.
Yeah, somebody like Brooks can like just turn your team into dogs.
Brooks is on a bad Phoenix team next year. Like Devin Booker Devin Booker, him and Brooks probably are going Jordan Poole, Draymond in the preseason if Brooks isn't moved on. But not only do you give up Jalen and then Dylan Brooks to match the salary, but they gave up the number 10 pick in this draft.
Oh,
so
man.
They did the equivalent of if the Spurs had made the deal, it would have been like Sohan, Barnes, and the number 12 pick. And that just seems like even for Houston trying to make that leap.
No, we have 14. Or do we have 12? I thought we had 14.
We're 14. I keep thinking 12 because of J-Dub, Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
But yeah, to give up a top 10 pick in this loaded draft plus a young, offensive-minded
They wanted one of our bigs. They wanted a Castle. They wanted
and 5 future second-round picks. Which I mean that's just the Phoenix GM saying, look, dude. You got to give me a lot. Just give me a bunch of second-round picks so it looks like, I got 5 of them. Like,
exactly.
One of these will become our Jokic, or
one
of them will become
we have
Manu,
18 picks coming up in the next 8 years.
Exactly. But they're all crappy second-round picks. But
we'll talk. I guess we'll talk more about that, dude. Because
I'm curious to see.
I want to see how that plays out on the 10th.
I want to see who's available at 10.
Yeah.
To see who Houston could have potentially gotten. I mean, they got Durant. Durant is.
Maybe Mr. Nipple.
Yeah, dude. As crazy as it sounds, I don't think he's fallen that far.
I want the nipple.
As always, LG. Let's do a little lightning round before we get out of here.
Give me the nipple.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier. We did get another national champion from the college ranks. LSU wins their second in 3 years in Omaha.
Man,
that's a blue blood program right there.
You know, I didn't know Coastal Carolina, like, they've been there before recently. Like, I guess.
They're a great mid-major.
Yeah,
and they had won 26 straight games before LSU.
But for the over-eager umpire,
that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
To toss
whatever he said.
The head coach, he was asking for the pitch count.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then he just like, hold on, I'm trying to get to it. And then he's like, yo, I'm just asking for the pitch out. Don't sit there and turn to me like I'm doing something wrong. And he was mad over something with the first base. Like him and the first base coach got into it on something else.
Yeah.
And it was just like, he was like, man, you're already starting it, blah, blah, blah. And like to toss out a coach in the finals in the first inning, I don't care. You give them the rope. You stop paying attention to them.
Yeah, this could be the last game of the season.
This is how easy an umpire can squash it. Just turn away. Just turn away. You can still hear him, but act like you don't.
But that requires a grown-ass man swallowing his ego.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, my God.
God forbid.
Umpires kill me sometimes.
Also, the 2-game suspension that carries over into next year because he bumped an umpire. Just because that fat can't stand on his own feet.
The little back.
The picture I saw where the ump's feet are just in the air like on prom night.
And he rolled back and he tried to like play it off like it was all cool.
No, dude,
yeah, come on, man.
That's embarrassing. Yeah, they run the manager and the first base coach in the first inning, and that just kind of felt like okay.
Yeah,
but you'll be happy to know LSU, they didn't break their old Jello shot record. But they hit the LSU fans bought over 50,000 Jello shots in Omaha this weekend.
Man, that's a lot of sugar and hangovers.
Yeah,
man.
that's nothing but they're SEC though. They can handle that. They're built for.
Give me a hurricane.
Yeah, they're built for 10 a.m. Jello shots. Hit me, LG.
I'd buy that for $1.
All right, we got a major retirement news. Sweet John Jones, the best to ever have done.
I'm glad you brought this. I had this sent to me by one of our UFC fans that listened.
Yes, yeah, thank you. He said he was like, put this in the show, and I was like, I'm right there on it with you, man. But he retired, so he will not be facing Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight championship. He is now the heavyweight championship. And he 2 days later is now facing legal troubles once again from a February accident where he was drunk and ran from the scene.
Well, that's unfortunate. Wait, you say again
He's
if we've
done it before.
Been down this road, metaphorically speaking.
Like I said, allegedly, if you run from the scene and crack a beer, you can't get a DWI because they don't know when you had the beer. Allegedly.
So
well, it's not like I've ever done this.
Sure, right. Just alleged.
Any of my 20,000 friends.
Alleged non-legal advice here from the Sportscape.
You know, or my bartenders and everybody that we say.
When was the fight supposed to happen?
They were looking for June.
Oh.
So, but like it kept getting pushed back and back because they wanted to do like either end of July. They usually do a big fight. Like at the end of the July or end of June or May. And like that's where it started with the May. Like in the beginning of the May, that's usually a huge fight coming in. And it kept getting pushed back and pushed back. And I cannot stand Dana White. And it's not politics, not none of this stuff.
It's not the spousal abuse allegations.
He's just a dick, man.
It makes him money.
And he's just
being a dick is profitable these days.
He's like the emperor of the UFC, where he doesn't give these guys any kind of health benefits. If you get hurt while fighting, he'll take care of it, but not any of the after treatments or any of this. And it's like, dude, these guys are 1099. Like some of my workers that I go at my restaurant, like these. Like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. This is professional sports. There needs to be a players union. There needs to be a fighters union, and it needs to But Dana White is crushing it like the Union Buster Reagan or whatever, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. It's one of those deals where he can't have. He's not making money without the fighters, but it takes massive coordination amongst the fighters to have any kind of union formation.
The only person to ever get over on Dana White, and I think this is where he swore he never have it again, was Conor McGregor, because he was like, I want a piece of the whatchamacallit. I was like, I want a piece of the pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, however much money you're going to make on the pay-per-views, he's like, I want my share. And if we're making that money because of me, I'm gonna get a hefty share, and you're gonna get like a manager's cut.
It's almost like Dana White has just been like the universities profiting off of the football players,
and he is
kind of feels like how do college football players now have more legal rights to equal pay or equal cuts of the profits than grown UFC fighters.
And any UFC fighters that speak out about it, Francis Ngannou was a big name.
I remember that name. Big guy, heavyweight guy, right?
Dude,
yeah.
Guy was ridiculous. Yeah.
Was he Nigerian or something?
Nigerian.
Yeah.
He worked in the dirt mines and stuff as a kid.
I do remember it. MMA is my biggest blind spot. UFC.
Crazy story. Like he was one of the biggest names, and he fired him because he wanted union.
That's why I haven't heard.
The UFC is bigger than this guy. He has killed so many good fights because the fighters start speaking up on union and being like, we want health benefits. When we're training, we want you to pay if we get hurt during training. You know, I'm training to fight for you. But like if you get hurt during training, you lose the contract that you about had. You don't get to put insurance on it. And you have to pay your legal bills, you know? So your team, the teams that they go to the gyms, have to take on that legal cost. F you, Dana White.
Well,
I mean,
unless UFC
you.
wants to promote this, and we'll do.
There's something that I wouldn't take that money.
Yeah, I don't keep up with it enough to understand the inner workings of the
I
economics
guarantee this
of it.
This fight.
But it feels like there's some common ground that could be found there.
This fight got killed because of Dana White. I have full faith in this, not John Jones. Like, oh, I don't want to fight Tom Aspinall. That is the baddest man on the planet. He has proven time and time again that he is that man. And you think he's scared of Tom Aspinall, even though as great as he is in his prime, he's taken out everybody in their prime. This man stepped up to anybody. And you're telling me he just didn't want to fight him? No, Dana White was a greedy little bastard. I'm done. Hit me, LG.
Yeah.
Inconceivable.
I love it when someone talks so passionately about something I don't know jack shit about. So I'm just like, yeah, F Dana White, I'm with you. That's exactly right. The redneck in me comes out like, well, if you're this passionate about it, it must be right, damn it.
Let's get on board.
I have full support from this side of the table. A couple of other before we close out with some video here. I had some local, trying to kind of weave in some local news in the lightning round. So I saw this headline, and this is something that meant absolutely nothing to me, but it seems like it's a fairly big deal for our city. Godfather's Pizza? Does that do anything for either of you born and raised San Antonians?
Man.
Apparently it was real big in the 80s. So it might have still been just like right before us.
I thought it was Wise Guy's Recipe, but if it's in the 80s, no, because the family didn't come down until like late 90s or early 2000s. But I heard of Godfather's Pizza. I never was... I was too young probably to be because my family was still Little Caesars and all the main chains. We never ventured.
That's what killed Godfather's apparently, because they had I was reading up to almost 20 different locations here locally, and then they all closed down by the late 80s.
Yeah.
But long story short, there's a new one opening far 151 just outside of 410 over on the west side. And then in my part of town this weekend, this is becoming a new trend where anytime
streaking.
No, not as fun as that. Anytime there's violence outside of a bar, because my neighborhood is now I wouldn't say it's as popular as the Strip, but I mean the run of bars with Bentley, Bar House, Burleson, Boxcar, all B names actually now that I think about it, but all kind of in a 2-block radius of each other. You've got just way more people.
That's a far away from SBC Center.
No, the
Bentley and SBC Center, that's 18 blocks.
No, there's Bentleys there's 2 Bentleys. There's one at the end of Broadway, and then there's one smack downtown by my house right there on Alamo Street. Okay. And it was the one on Alamo Street that had some violence pop off. There might or might not been another shooting outside of the bar.
Oh, surprise.
That turned deadly. And this is the problem, because it's not the Strip where it's, a bunch of college kids that are fighting each other or doing whatever. No, these are people our age that are okay, F you, I'm pulling a gun. But the thing that...
It's when you got a bad back and if 3 people running up on me, man, I was man, back in the day, I'd be let's go. But nah, I'm gonna have to pull out a gun.
Yeah, at this point,
but I'll shoot him in the leg.
Oh yeah, I'll spare you the kill shot and just hit you in the leg.
I would have been you won't have to shoot me.
It's murder.
No, this is the same Bentleys that's always in trouble. They're always getting hit with the one on Broadway is always getting hit with sound complaints, and this one there was that video that went pretty viral of a brawl that was 20 people out in front of it a couple months ago. But my favorite, what keeps happening to this, anytime because there was another shooting outside of a bar called Hang Time right there, and as soon as it happens, the bars release a statement that sounds something like this. First of all, we're really, really sorry for the loss of life and the family and friends, the individual left behind. We are deeply troubled by this rise in crime and violence in our society. But reports that he was shot in our bar are absolutely inaccurate, and I stop spreading misinformation or we will sue you. It's whoa, I thought we were concerned about the shooting victim, and then
They don't want those Yelp reviews, man.
That's exactly what it is. But Bentley's had one out within an hour of the shooting. It was like, reports of a shooting at our bar is misinformation, fake news,
It's
and
like
we will
if a
be
shooting
suing.
happens in the parking lot, it's like we did our job. We kicked them out. Like,
Yeah, and that's the trouble of like
what am I supposed to do after that? Walk them to their car?
exactly like
Where they could shoot me point blank?
They were
No, I'm
starting.
like-
They were starting to pop off in the bar. We kicked them out. What else do you want us to do?
As a former bouncer for many years, you get them out the bar, you hold the line. That's all it is. It's like, this is the line. Go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the line is at the bar. They start walking the car and they start walking back. Everybody get inside.
Yep. Time to bunker down, boys. All right, hit me, LG. I got one more before I let you close this out.
All right.
This, I will mention, shout out to Abbott for, at least for now, saving THC. We'll see. I don't think any of us partake in the fake weed that is available legally in
Coulda
these
did the right
dispensaries, but we'll see. We're keeping an eye on that because he also added it to the special session.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But as a quote, he stands with Trump on the Iran thing.
Well, he's never going to run again, so for governor, I mean, he can't run again for governor.
Roll his ass off a hill.
Yeah, there's got to be, or just retire and leave politics to someone else, but preferably not a Marylander that is lieutenant governor. But no, I've got something we've talked about a lot lately.
Yeah.
Every day, I forgot to tell you, today is National Detroit Style Pizza Day.
I knew it was something. I thought we were going to get through this.
Every day is some bullshit observance. Every month is a celebration of something.
Even though Detroit style pizza is pretty good.
Hey, Detroit style pizza is where it's at.
It's
It's
not
real
bad.
good.
I
It's
like it.
really
I
good.
really like it.
And especially
It's very
even
crunchy on the
even like that Via 313. Okay, anyway.
All right.
So over the weekend, we had poor Chip Carey on the St. Louis Cardinals broadcast. The Cardinals are doing a giveaway for Disability Pride Night. They are doing a giveaway for an upcoming game that they have labeled Disability Pride Night.
Good to bring awareness.
Well, awareness is great, but Chip might have seen his life flash before his eyes. You have that, LG?
Disability Pride Night is Thursday, July 10th, and with the theme ticket, fans take home a Cardinals cap featuring the Disability Pride flag and Cardinals in Braille. Details at cardinals.com/theme.
Count the silence. There's a pitch.
Lead that one.
Disability
Pride
and
Night
even
is
then,
Thursday, July.
even when he comes back in,
that was a Michael Jordan. That was a 23 second.
I think by count, you have a slow count. I think by count, it's like 34 seconds, 31, 33 seconds of silence. Well, it's on the video. That's why I was cheating. And even when he does get back on mic, it sounds like he can barely keep it together. Probably because all of those dudes were just holding the dump button down like we have
like,
as they're
you
loose.
stupid.
Exactly.
Are you get? I am now like probably talking to the producer. In no way, shape, or form am I going down for this guy.
I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again.
Yeah, we had a real Thom Brenneman, but at least like Chip, if you're asking him to read a Disability Pride Night flag giveaway, you kind of have to know the potential is there. You
underline
for
the word
catastrophe.
flag just to be like,
no, because
don't mess it up.
Then you think about it too much, and then you have the flag. Oh God, I just said that. All right, hit me, LG. Close us out, Cap.
All right. Do it. Yeah. Speaking of,
God, I was taking a drink of water.
Speaking of someone who might need a disability flag, is my man Puma's over here.
Come on.
And we ran into an old friend of ours who likes to arm wrestle. And she's been doing great. She's been on a weight loss program. She is kicking ass. Good friend Erica. I doubt she listens to the show, but she's a supporter. She's a subscriber, thanks to me. And
is she one of your guerrilla marketing?
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Her whole family.
Before you play this, first of all, I could tell she was really into arm wrestling, and that was my first concern.
Yeah.
Because
she's been getting pumped.
These are not arm wrestling arms.
Yeah,
there's no leverage.
But you
got 6 foot.
You have a Y
wingspan.
chromosome, sir. You have a Y chromosome.
Sure.
You buck up.
I guarantee you there are more women out there than I would care to admit that would dominate me at arm wrestling. I just don't have it. I don't have it.
There's not a woman out there that'll beat me.
Well, sure, you, but this is not we are not the same. I'm a Martian.
So he walks by and he's like, hey, you remember that girl that wanted to arm wrestle me? She almost broke my thumb.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. And I turn around, I'm like, Erica, you just break Puma's thumb? And Puma just goes in like, why'd you like?
Yeah, because
blah, blah, blah,
then
blah.
at that point I realized I was about to have to arm wrestle the girl.
And I was like, hey, I think he's down to arm wrestle you now. So therefore, we get the match that we wanted, and I think we might have some live action cue.
Yeah, because you took video, of course.
What?
You couldn't just let me potentially lose my dignity for no one to see except us at the bar.
I got a flag for you at the end of this. We queued up there, LG.
All right. We locked in? No.
Look how she tries to cheat in the beginning. She gets her arm real close.
See, I'm glad you caught it, because I wouldn't have even known.
Oh, yeah.
Are we grabbing the table? Hold on, I need pointers.
Look at these excuses already.
There were some liquid excuses that were also at play.
2. Oh, my God. Hold on.
Oh, she's holding it strong. She's holding it strong. Man, Puma, you are struggling, sir. You are, dude.
This was the moment of real concern. At this point, I'm starting to think like, okay, I just got to outlast her because she's going to lose muscle faster than I am, or lose strength faster. So I just got to hold it until I can throw it down, because it was like that was not a bit like that. There was genuine concern.
He was straining. He texted me his arm hurt the next day.
It didn't feel good.
It didn't feel good.
It was the first arm wrestle. The last time I arm wrestled anybody was a buddy's bachelor party when we were all wasted like 10 years ago.
Oh, and then I don't know if you queued up. I don't know if Puma got the video, but she goes and sits there and be like, "I'll arm wrestle you. I'll do better." And I'm like, "No, you won't." And that went about how long? How long that one go?
I would say probably about less than 3 seconds.
No, about half a second.
Okay.
I destroyed her.
Yeah.
I destroyed her. Like I should. Like you should.
No,
you need to put her in the ground.
No.
Show your dominance.
I believe in equality. I was trying to build.
Throw that pecker on the table.
I could tell she had done a lot of work to get to that point, and I was just trying to make sure we continued the forward progress.
I took that table with me too. I was like, yeah.
No, there was genuine concern. I'm glad we finally got to the arm wrestling video. And on that note, LG, for the love of God, get us out of here before I lose any more of my dignity. If you want to follow along with me, X at Biggest Puma, Instagram biggest.puma.
At Instagram, the Captain 210.
And
still working on that TikTok thing.
It's gonna be a work in progress for years. As LG told y'all
until
earlier,
China signs it over.
Please give us those YouTube subbies. We are back Wednesday night. Super excited. Live NBA draft show, 8 o'clock Wednesday. Till then, y'all be good. Be safe. Peace.
Peace.
Kids, what do we say about drugs?
Only